Yes, yes.
For you to live your dream, you have got to be alive to start well. You have to be there, available in this life. And for you to be there, you must be having your health with you, at least health of the body. Whether poor or otherwise, we are talking about living your dream in this present life and not in the life after. One of the most essential requirements for people who would live their dream is health, optimal health. I like talking of optimal health as opposed to just health. You could be healthy just because you are not sick, but you are not in optimal health. Optimal health shall include total well being, feeling and looking healthy, and you should indeed be healthy. At times, you may feel and look healthy while you are not really healthy. I am told that conditions like cancer or diabetes can reside in you for quite some time before you realize it. But one day, you get the disgusting news, and shortly after, your life totally changes. It is also good to know that one who is overweight is not enjoying optimal health. Being underweight is not good either. Equally, one who is under the fear of heart attack or is under the scourge of chronic lifestyle conditions has not much joy in life. You cannot claim to be in optimal health if your entire life is pegged on continuous medication or if you are always on the doctor's strict diet of don'ts. Don't eat sugar. Don't eat salt. Don't drink alcohol. Don't. That is not the health you will enjoy, is it? Without your health, you have no life. And this is irrespective of who you are, king or slave, saint or sinner. Health, even in the dictionary, comes before wealth. It has been said that some people ruthlessly squander their health looking for wealth, then quickly spend their entire wealth to gain their most crucial health, and most of the times in vain. This is because once your health has deteriorated to a breaking point, it becomes virtually impossible to reverse it to its original status. It is more or less like a lady who has given birth to a baby. She cannot become a virgin again. She only has to cope with the new lifestyle. And many meet this situation in their 50s onwards. You do not have to be like them. The good news about this is that it is a matter of choice. Once you resolve to live a healthy lifestyle, the rest is pretty easy. Making firm decisions is a challenge which leaders meet day and night. And that is what the world uses to judge them. Their firmness in the resolve to stick to their decisions and fruits therefrom. It takes the same old discipline to be in optimal health that allows you to live your dream. Your health shall be largely determined by your lifestyle. What do you eat? Remember, you are what you eat. There are many people who do not want to take charge of their health. They leave everything to a doctor. They want the quote unquote family doctor to take care of their own health. This is, in my view, a clear recipe for trouble. The fact that you can afford medication does not mean you become reckless with your life and abdicate all the health responsibilities for your health to another person. It is the epitome of irresponsibility. It is like one getting into fire simply because he can afford hospital bills. Besides, remember, poor health does not only cost money, it costs you comfort, peace of mind, and ultimately it costs you your life. Or should I say your life, which is the last payment you can grieve, your own life? It matters less who you are, whether a carpenter or a preacher, a teacher or a magician, everyone needs optimal health. What many people do not realize is that to the hospital or the doctors, you are a customer, and thus they, quote, more so in the private sector, end of quote, would always be happy to have you around. This is a strange friendship where the hyena is a friend to the antelope. But few realize this. You want to try as much as you can to avoid unnecessary medications or hospital visits. You want to only visit a health clinic for your own, quote unquote, regular checkup in order to confirm that you are healthy, preferably only once a year. Perhaps the other reason to take you to a doctor would be to say hello as a friend and catch up. This you can do elsewhere, perhaps at a golf club, cinema, school board meeting, among other places. This you can only do by staying healthy. And there's a lot you can do to realize this. I can guarantee you that the doctor will still not go hungry because there will always be enough people to take care of. I mean, enough sick people. If you doubt this, just recall the last time you visited a doctor's clinic. Didn't you have to wait? If yes, then let the other guys continue as you back off because you are now more health conscious. Besides, more medicine is in your body means more toxins in your body. I have a number of friends in the pharmaceutical industry. Many of them work as medical representatives, selling drugs to doctors and hospitals. So far, two have confided in me about what happens in that industry. And they do not know each other. Neither do they work for the same employer. One told me that he sells, but he would not want to swallow those drugs because, start of quote, they are just poisons. Even the owners and the manufacturers do not want to swallow them, so why should I? End of quote. He prefers preventing and avoiding diseases than treating. And when he falls sick, he prefers using a nutritional approach. We are going to discuss this shortly. The other friend also told me, start of quote, you know, it is a hard job I do, but I have to do it. I sell poisons. I have to convince people to buy these poisons. Remember, these are just poisons, only that they do not kill instantly when used appropriately. But is what I have to sell, and my team has to do the same, sell poisons, end of quote. There is this documentary I once watched. It was downloaded and put in a DVD. The DVD was named Food Matters. If you get to YouTube and search for this, you will certainly get some fragments of the same. From this, you may be able to learn that pharmaceutical industry may not be as clean and sincere as you may want to think. And I am saying this not to discredit them. The science of medicine has contributed immensely to the growth and development of mankind. But the appetite for money in some quarters has infiltrated it, and there is a lot of rot in there, perhaps coupled with a wee bit of ignorance. Do your own objective research and evaluate for yourself. But in the meantime, as much as you can, stay healthy. Steer away from pharmaceutical products unless you really have to. How will you do this?
It starts by asking for a second opinion. Do not just trust the opinion of one doctor. Get the habit of Get the habit of seeking several views from different practitioners. You will be amazed of the recorded causes of death, wrong diagnosis or medication, and side effects is actually one of the leading. A friend of mine recently almost knocked off all her teeth if only she had heeded the opinion of the first doctor who made an emergency out of the situation until other varied opinions cooled the temper. Just to tell you that not everyone who is diagnosing your condition has all your interests at heart. Still, there are enough good doctors and even some more crafty money maniacs. Be careful. You have to be careful with your health to live your dream. A 500 BC Greek medical genius, Hippocrates of Chios, said, "Let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food." His insight was profound. He was right, more so in today's world of fast everything. Fast food, fast cars, fast internet, fast cash, etc. This is a scientific truth and cannot be mutilated. A human body generates self-defense from the foods he or she ingests. This is true for all living things, animals and plants. That is the reason trees hardly need medication. At least in our village, I know this for a fact. Perhaps in your village, you dress wounds for your trees when they get cut, lest they die of some infections. Not so at our place. Even wild beasts live full life without any medication, any medical intervention. They somehow get healed naturally. How do you explain this? I think God, the creator himself, did not expect people to have health challenges if they lived well. Just like bees, hardly do they get sick. But the only animal with all the health challenges is man, together with a few domestic animals that he takes care of. And yet man is the most knowledgeable of them all. Why is that? My thinking is that because man is the cleverest, he should be able to even keep much healthier. Do you think so? Man can read, learn, research, study, think, figure out. So compared to other animals, man should be able to tame disease and get rid of it. Man should be able to prevent it and conquer it. But this is not a common sense issue. It is a grim reality. Man gets sick often and dies younger in most cases. You are what you eat. Take charge of your health. Start reading about nutrition. That is the best way to start. Doctors are not angels. They also make mistakes, and very serious mistakes for that matter. More so in matters to do with how you should eat. It is not a medical school course. Actually, it is a new development. So do your own due diligence and give your body what it requires, not what is sweet for the tongue. As I have often said, I learned that your tongue will always complain about the right foods and be happy with the ones that are bad for your body. But if you continuously give it what is right, soon it will start appreciating them and hate the wrong ones. The same things will happen with your mind and emotions. It is a matter of strict training and discipline. Over time, you will get to overcome the urge to indulge in wrong things and avoid unnecessary foodstuffs that add no value to you. By the way, that includes smoking and drinking alcoholic drinks. They add no good, just bad to your holy body. When one smokes, it is like he is taking poison and waiting for the consequences, which shall surely come, only that he experiences short joys at the expense of long-term health challenges, pains, and losses. Do not eat what will kill you if you want to live your dream. Living your dream starts with living a healthy lifestyle, everything in moderation. You need as well to check on your exercises. The nutrition lessons will take you through. It is never as hard as you may want to imagine. It is all in the fear element, which you will learn more about in this book. It is in your mind. Your mind may make scenes look quite ugly while in reality they are not. So while studying nutrition as part of your homework, Remember to make more fresh fruits and vegetables, more whole grains, minimal fats and sugars, minimal starch and refined foods, more of natural homegrown foods. But be conscious about your health and nutrition. It takes a lot of discipline, tongue discipline, you may call it. Again, better the pain of discipline than the pain of regret. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much for that. And this is a subject that is very dear to me. I love the topic of nutrition. Yes, I came across, I think this is something that I started in class 5, if I can remember well. I met some book. I came across a book that was talking about uh, how to stay healthy and prevent medicines, and also how not to abuse the pharmaceutical medicine, which is what we call the drugs. And that ignited my curiosity, and I started wanting to be able to learn more about the same. And today, I have been from then along the way around after college, that idea came to me again, and from that day to date, I've just been interested in nutrition, and I think it's done me quite a big deal. Many people don't really take their health seriously. Many people don't take their health seriously. And so by the end of the day, they have to pay for it. And to me, that doesn't sound really wise. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds like they are really not serious with life. And so in living our dreams, there is no way we're going to be able to live our dreams, to be able to achieve and enjoy the success we aspire to, if we disregard the value of our own individual health. And that is a very big thing that each and every one of us needs to take care of. So let's open it up for discussion. Just another example. Recently, last term, just before the closing of the schools, in the same school where my children go, one of the children of my neighbors was sick. And I just saw her when I was driving into school to pick my children, and she noticed me and came. She pointed at me to the teacher that I know her. So they came, and I asked what's wrong. She told me she's sick, she's feeling unwell. So I called the mom. The mom told me she'd been told, and somebody was coming to pick her. So we were to confirm if that person is close or I just pick her. And apparently they even thought that she had COVID. Now this girl was rushed to some other hostel, some private hostel, and immediately it was an emergency. She was diagnosed with meningitis. But then I don't know what happened. I don't have the full story, but they changed the hospital and went to KNH, and it was just pneumonia. And a few days she was out. You see the way things can run in pharmaceutical firms. Another friend was put on diabetes drugs for so many years, until at one point when he was in Kisumu, somebody referred him to a different doctor, another doctor, that this guy is more genuine and is an expert in such things to do with bone, knees, and things like that. So he traveled to Nairobi to meet this doctor. And he was told, you've been on wrong medication for the last 7-8 years. You see, this is not diabetes. And he was assisted, and today is fine. Now, those are just some of the stories I've heard. So it's good for us to take care of our health. It's not somebody's responsibility. It is my responsibility to take care of my health and that of my family. It is your responsibility. Otherwise, all your work will be in vain. You will build, like it's written in the Bible. The people who worked don't eat. It is the people who did not work who enjoy it. So let's share. Thank you. People who want to go on what you got from the reading. Yes, who is going first?
I think this issue of food, as you have said, it's a personal issue. I kid you not, go to the houses of nutritionists and they are the worst eaters. Like, my goodness, I have some friends who are nutritionists, and one thing they always tell me and always tell us is that, by the way, we are nutritionists by profession, but when it comes to what they eat, it's a bit wanting. So I think it's a very, very personal thing. We should always endeavor to take care of ourselves personally. And I have also come across cases where patients have been given their own medication. I remember there's this time my brother fell sick and he went to, there's a hospital in Athi River. They told him that he has a blood clot in his heart. So we decided to take him to Kenyatta. And by the way, in Kenyatta, there's nothing that was seen, nothing. He didn't have a blood clot. It wasn't anything serious. He had high blood pressure, and so that made him have a headache, severe headache. But now you see, if we had not gotten a second opinion from somewhere else, we would be like, okay, so the blood clot has to be treated and everything. So health is a very personal thing. And I love the way in the book OPP has said that God never intended for us to be sick. Very true. And that is why I believe in the book of Isaiah, he says that by his stripes we were healed. No, the book of Isaiah says by his stripes we are healed. But now when you come into the New Testament, in the book of 2 Peter, it says that by his stripes we were healed. So that is a past tense. Like, God has already taken care of that. What we should do is, now we should do what we are supposed to do: live a clean lifestyle, live a healthy lifestyle, do what Paul says, that after you've done all to stand, please just stand. Thank you.
You see, thank you for that sharing. You see, what you are saying is just people who are not adhering to their own teaching, which is very common among many people, including almost in every sector, not just in the medical world or nutrition. But we also have examples of people who really go ahead to practice that, and now they have results. A good example, by the way, is Dr. Eda. Dr. Eda, you can share your story. The other day, she chose to drastically refine or revise her diet. And today you meet Dr. Eda, she looks pretty young, yeah? She became younger and more beautiful. Dr. Eda, what do you say? And you're a medical person, an authority in the industry.
Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I'm a grandmother of one, and when I walk with my sons, people say those are my brothers. But I thank God for good health, and there's something which is not taught in medical school, and that is nutrition. And it's very deliberate, because what they want, that is deliberate training of doctors, that every disease that you have, we must write a prescription in order to enrich the big pharmaceutical agencies, which have, by the way, hijacked the World Health Organization. And so they have all these sponsoring medical students to medical school, sponsoring us for dinners, sponsoring us for further studies. They even sponsor all the studies that they do on drugs. So the impression that we got by the time we left medical school is that there's a pill for everything, which is very, very wrong. And actually, even the founder of medicine, his precept was that let medicine be your food and food be your medicine. Because you are what you eat. And so there's something called oxidative stress and the 7 toxicities. And oxidative stress is what makes us become old, is what it brings, the major chronic diseases. And nutrition is what will prevent many diseases. And so what we do to our food and the kind of foods we eat. Actually, I had this discussion over the weekend. I was asking them, why do you think nobody in the slums got COVID? And we were burying people from the middle and upper class. It's directly because of that, because of obesity, because of the kind of foods we eat, our immunity was low. And so when COVID hit, it just went straight for obese people and people who had very poor diet. And so the best diet is whole food, plant-based diet. I won't teach you that I'm a vegetarian, but if you can avoid meat and eat especially like chicken, like fish, white meat that is preferably steamed, and of course chicken without the skin so that you avoid the cholesterol. And then another thing we have is processed meat, which is a total disaster. It has nitrites in it. Sausages, bacon, all these hams that we put in sandwiches, hot dogs, all these fast foods. And people are so excited about Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is a total disaster, hamburgers, cheese. And all these things reduce the immunity. And so if you can get a very high vegetable diet, of course, preferably organic, because now there's a problem of pesticides in the vegetables. So high vegetables, high fruits, and avoiding very fast carbohydrates, sources of carbohydrates like white sugar. In fact, sugar should be avoided completely. When I went on my diet and I lost 18 kilos, there was no sugar, there was no dairy, there was no milk, there was nothing. And it was very, very healthy. And I lost all those kilos and I felt much better. So when I stopped the diet, I just found myself feeling so much better, and I continued with the kind of foods that were on the menu. Another source so if you can have a lot of vegetables, half of the plate should actually be vegetables. And a lot of fruits, but not too many fruits. Actually, a fistful of fruits is enough per day. Because there's some people who think, oh, fruits are healthy, I can eat as much as I like, but actually, they have a lot of fructose, which is a sugar, and you can end up with diabetes if you just eat a lot of fruits. And then a quarter of the plate should be difficult to digest carbohydrates, which includes ndoma, ngwashe, and those things. Avoid things like bread and white flour, chapati with white flour. And then the other quarter should be preferably a plant kind of protein, which is like beans. We have so many lovely legumes like kamande beans, black beans, and all those things. So actually we can do without meat. Meat takes 72 hours to digest. And ideally, it's, the food should come out if you're eating 3 times. So what's happening with especially meat, we're not actually, if you look at what structure, we're actually not supposed to be eating meat. We're actually supposed to be vegetable eaters, but we discovered how to cook meat. And meat just stays in your intestines for 72 hours and it starts rotting, putrefaction. So if you're eating meat every single day, then you're getting this backlog of waste. And that is very unhealthy. And we have something called leaky gut. And so when your gut is unhealthy, then there's supposed to be a very good balance of bacteria in your gut. And this bacteria, they produce chemicals which actually influence your brain. And so your mental health is affected by the state of the bacteria in your gut. Okay, this is something we were never taught in medical school because I think in the 1980s, this technology had not come out and people did not understand the gut-brain connection. But the vagus nerve is very important in our mental health. And so you can influence the type of bacteria you have in the gut directly by the kind of food you eat. So when you eat healthily, the kind of food I've been talking about, and also, of course, I forgot to mention rehydration. You need at least 8 glasses of water per day. So when you have a healthy gut, they call it the microbiome, then these ones produce chemicals that affect the neurotransmitters in our system and affect your mood and affect every single process in the body. And then there's a feedback mechanism. The more you eat healthy food, the more these gut microbiome influence you to crave more healthy food. The more unhealthy your food, then the more you continue to crave unhealthy food like sugars and very high, ice cream, food that's very high in sugar, and then it also affects your mood. So some people come to us with depression when actually it's their diet that is a disaster. Then another of the 7 toxicities is electromagnetic frequencies. The microwaves that you have in your house, the Wi-Fi systems that you have in your house. I'm a member of the International Association for a Disease-Free World, and they tell us to get rid of our microwaves. You can just, when I get visitors, normally I heat food for them directly in the sofuria. And also there's so many things that can go wrong when you store food in plastic containers, try and store things in glass containers, which are inert because the food reacts with the plastic. And no wonder we have so much cancer in our society because of eating the plastic that has entered the food and then microwaving it on top of that. So the electromagnetic frequency is a disaster. If you can switch off your Wi-Fi at night, do not sleep near your phone, switch it off. Some people sleep with it under the pillow. This is why we're having even brain cancer, but the World Health Organization will not tell you these things. Just like during COVID, when nobody was told to eat healthy. Did you ever see an advisory about eating healthily? And yet that is the best way to increase your immunity. Yeah, so there's a lot that can be talked about nutrition, and it's very important because you are what you eat, and we can prevent all these chronic diseases like Alzheimer's, senile dementia, cancer, hypertension, diabetes. People have reversed diabetes, people have reversed hypertension simply by eating well. But because most of the money is to be made in chronic diseases and putting people on chronic medication, then there's no incentive to tell people. But I believe in preventive medicine and doing what's best for my patients. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Daktari. Yes, that is the reality. The reality is there is no incentive for telling people to stay healthy. There is no money in it. The money is in when you are sick. And that's why I find it very ridiculous that somebody tells you that, well, let the doctor worry about your health. You see, it doesn't add up. I have another friend, another doctor friend, who tells me I'm one of those few doctors who hardly prescribe medicine. I try to look for a solution, the root cause analysis. And most times you realize that it goes back to how do we feed? What is it that, what is our lifestyle? And the other thing, many of us haven't learned that even in the Bible, right from the beginning, the Genesis, God gave us seed-bearing plants. And if you read Genesis 29:30 thereabout, we were not given meat. We were not given all these other things. These ones came in after Noah's ark, after the flood. And at that point, that is when even the lifespan reduced drastically to 70 or thereabout. So originally we were created for grains and all the other herbs. And yeah, as Dr. has said, food naturally determines how our mind is and how our mental health is. We cannot eat all the junk and then expect that we are going to be mentally healthy. It doesn't work like that. So thank you for that sharing and for the testimony that you lost 18 kilos by just revising your diet. Yeah, that is a testimony that it works and you stay healthy and you look younger and you get rid of diseases. Thank you very much. iPhone, you've been having your hand up. We don't know your name, but you can share.
Sorry,
iPhone.
I think
I also needed to mention about the exercise, OPP.
Yes.
hello.
Yeah, exercise is very, very important.
So how
Okay.
many of us are on the floor?
No. Daktari just came in and said, oh, I needed to mention about exercise, but I think that's fine. She's done. You can go ahead.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I didn't put my name. My name is Dr. Christine Sadia.
Oh.
I am one of the old doctors, so I want to also weigh in on what Dr. Eda said, but I want to correct her perception that she has created, which perhaps is erroneous. I think we should also look at the training and the evolving training and maybe the lack of training thereof. I am one of those doctors that were trained early, and I can testify that nutrition was in our training curriculum, and issues of lifestyle diseases, plus what nutrition plays in the health was in our curriculum. If it has gone out of the medical school, I'm not sure, and I don't know where the balance is. But I can testify that in our curriculum of medical training school, we had nutrition as a heavy subject and how it plays in the health. And we even have a document or a textbook where there's no medical doctor. If you look at that book where there's no medical doctors, we were all encouraged. And community health was very, very much part of our training. And we would be in communities and we would interact with communities, how nutrition, medical sociology, and the way of life affect life. So if that has gone out of the school, it is just because perhaps the curriculum and the pressure that has come with it. But I want to confirm that and agree with her that yes, nutrition and the balance thereof of what you eat is important. I also want to agree a bit of what goes into once you have trained, and the influence of the big pharma is an issue that we need to discuss. It is not that perhaps sometimes doctors don't know, but you see, like they mostly their courses were sponsored by the farmers, by the big farmers. Ours, we were not sponsored by the farmers. It was the responsibility of the government of Kenya. Therefore, the right curriculum, there was no influence of what goes into your mind. And therefore, the right thing was given. However, we may not practice it. But I want to weigh it on COVID, which she has also said. The COVID death rate, I am doing an analysis. Actually, I'm finishing a document that I'm sending to WHO right now. I'm the one who is doing the GER analysis for COVID, and I was the COVID national advisor. As much as we thought that COVID did not kill people in the slum, it is not very true. We don't have very good data, and I'm just doing that analysis right now. In the informal settlement, it is our response systems that did not pick properly. it is true that COVID killed people who had those lifestyle diseases like obesity, hypertension. It was what of. But people in the slum also died because of other reasons, which we are finding in the way that the information was passed. Their diseases were mimicked because we did not pick, but our autopsy do indicate that there were home deaths that were so many in those informal settlements. And therefore, it is not true that we have not, this GER analysis is just giving us a tip of the iceberg. What happens where in the rural, and I was supposed to have completed last week, but I was not able to because of the information overload that I've already gotten from the key informant discussion. So I'm hoping that this week it will be there. It will give us a better picture of how COVID impacted in the various geographies, in various areas. But one thing that is not true, that COVID only killed people, those are because they reached the health services. The people at the informal settlement or low literacy or did not have enough or could not penetrate the system to get the system. So it was an issue of inequities, an issue of human rights, but an issue of also gender disparities and location-specific data collecting. So this report is getting out soon, and it has also highlighted to us what happened during COVID. So I don't want to belabor the point, but I want us to have a balance. I want us to have a balance. Even as much as we talk about and be practical, even as much as we are talking about who can afford those kind of foods, really, information has not got to all Kenyans. This information is not known to all of us. People of us who are in who can read or have access to these platforms, we are getting issue of how to balance what is the role. But also when you look at certain pockets, even if you give me that information and I cannot balance my diet based on my economy, household dynamics, is it possible and practical that I would do it? So those are the kind of, I think, the balancing that we need to do even as we advise. Thank you very much. But I want to agree with and concur 100% that what you said is right. It is only the balancing that we need to put in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for contribution, Daktari. One thing that I know COVID topic is a little controversial. We need a whole chapter. We need a whole session on that, which would be a debate. What we also note again is, like Daktari said before, there was no advisory on how to eat to prevent. There was only advisory on mask, quarantine, and all the other physical things. We had a better opportunity to build our immunity. And again, by the way, nutrition is not that costly. I remember
there was advisory. There was an advisory on the eating, on the nutrition. There was, and I have the document.
I didn't see that anywhere. I remember a couple of years back, one of my brothers was critically ill. He is one of those people who live with HIV, and I gave him. They were bedridden together with the wife. I gave them vitamin C supplement to use. I had a particular one, which a tablet, it was equivalent to 8 oranges. After a couple of days, they were very good. Then I told him, you know, these things are very costly. What I'd like you to do is every day, just ensure you take 1 lemon, yeah, and try to avoid sugar and whatever. I just advised a few things. And they've never been hospitalized to date. It was hospitalized once because it was knocked by a motorbike. You see, so I've managed these situations for a good number of years, and I've been able to realize the role that staying conscious to our health, and how trying to avoid the near in church we talk of near occasions of sin, trying to avoid what can deliberately compromise our health will always be a big deal. And I think that is what has worked for me for years, including during COVID. In my family, this story of sanitizer, I've never bought it even once. this spraying or all sorts of things, mask, whatever. Throughout, it is my children who are playing outside, when even in our apartment, people did not want their children to go out and to even feel the sun. It's just staying true to the nutrition. Thank you. Yes, Odhiambolale, your hand was up, and I know you have something to weigh in.
Yes, good morning. How are you all?
Great, doing well.
I'm happy to hear that OPP also knows about herbal medicine. I heard you talk about lemon, and that's what I've been partaking. And I think I'm one of the ones who, during the COVID, used to partake even more lemon than ever. I just cut the lemon, and then I put it in a glass or a jar, and I drink throughout. Anyway, thanks so much, Dr. Ida, for that very good insight. I'm just wondering, as somebody who has been, what do you call it, has been living with this thing called diabetes for almost the past 10 years. I've been given medicine. I've met a nutritionist doctor who has been guiding me here and there. And the readings from now, I have my own machine. I do the test in the house. It fluctuates. Sometimes the irony is that in the morning when I wake up is when it seems to be very high, when I'm doing fasting. But when I'm doing random around in the afternoon, it goes down to at times even below 10. But when I'm doing the what they call the fasting between 6 and 7, it is high. My concern from what we have heard from Dr. Ida and Dr. Sadia and OPP is that I have this doctor who seems to like me, want me to take more and more medicine. And I said, no, I will not take more than 3. More than 3 is more than enough. So we have gone back to that. And I'm just wondering now as doctors, how do you go about this now, whereby you're told once you get diabetes, it will be with you for the rest of your life. Then meanwhile, instead of reducing the dosage, you're told, you see them like almost wanting to increase. I'm trying, exercise-wise, I'm okay. I do my 10 kilometers a week at one time in the forest, long forest. Every day I do I do morning and evening walks at times lunchtime. I drink a lot of water. Dieting, I'm having a challenge because I try to have the two-thirds? The two-thirds rule. Like I love ugali so much that as in ugali takes almost 50%. Nyama, I'm not so much keen on it, but you know how it is when you're on the table eating with everybody else. That is kind of a challenge. But I'm just concerned about this issue of the medicine that is being prescribed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend Odhiambola. I think we may end up starting to prescribe right now, so we can figure that at the end. We have like 9 minutes to go. What you are experiencing is very practical, that you will always be advised on more and more medication. Another story, a while back, before I started this nutrition thing, we were frequent in hospital because of my children. And wherever we went, we would come up with bulk medicine at 7, 8, 2, whatever, not 2. It was always 5 onwards. And at one point, we had very many of them. When we had a medical camp with our Rotary Club, I donated them. I realized we could not just use those medicines. And then a friend advised me about the nutrition, and that was the end of the story. We've never been to that situation again. And like again, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we were in our choir group. We were meeting and having a chat. And here at Sagret, and a friend said that, you see, we were talking about common cold. It was again a season like this where people were getting common cold. He told me, you know, I used to go to the hospital every other time I had cold, until a doctor called me aside and told me, you know what? You will keep coming here every now and again, and everything we are giving you here is not going to solve your problem. You just go and use these concoctions, ginger, lemon, honey, whatever, and you will always be fine. By the way, I can testify that throughout this season, that has been our remedy, and we keep using it. I add with zinc, and I've been away from cold. I think I've been sharing this with a number of people. Another family friend last week, we were talking, and he was telling me the way his family has been invaded by the flu that is ravaging Nairobi, and he went to Aga Khan himself, and one of the doctors who saw him told him, you know, this is your problem. At the moment, there is no medication for it. You just go and manage it. And the problem was a very common cold and things like that. So there is, I'm glad that there are enough brave doctors that are coming out despite the incentives, because I also know that doctors in their clinics, the medical representatives go in and give them suggestions on what to prescribe and tell them if this much goes, then you will get this much. But then there are those ones who can tell you that, well, these ones will not help you, because I want to believe there are people who are called to be doctors. They did not go there to make money. And that becomes the difference. So our topic for today, without bringing in much controversy, is if we do not take care of our health, nobody else will. By the way, I kid you not even your government, and don't trust government, because who is government? I was discussing this another day. There are other individuals who make decisions on behalf of government, and then we say it's government. And there is no enough due diligence. And by the end of the day, anything that gets into your body, you need to be in charge. You need to be aware of what it is. And so let's be people who are conscious about our health. Let's not misuse our health only for us to start going to chase after it, looking around in every hospital and everywhere else. Yeah, some people will start going for keshas and all these other people in the churches who claim to be praying for people and healing people. I'm not saying that God doesn't heal, but there is also another big business in that field which takes advantage of our health and advantage of our vulnerability. So we need to be people who are serious about our health. We take our health seriously in terms of what we eat and how we play our exercise role. That exercise that Odhiambo is talking about. Otherwise, we end up into other people's pockets and we ruin our own health. And that is not very pleasant, I tell you. So in order to live our dreams, health is the first step. If we are healthy, we are going to read. If we are healthy, we are going to work our businesses. If we are healthy, we will go to the job, we will work better. And I also have another friend who was, after working for some time and he was always experiencing ill health, he had to be relieved of his duties. And that meant even losing the insurance cover, which is what makes enough people be comfortable in employment, because they have health insurance card, you see. And because he had kidney issues and I think related stories, it was never easy. So what I mean is, with poor health, even your employer will not love you, because you become a costly member of the staff. So health becomes our number one priority. Thereafter, the rest can fall in place. Without health, nothing much can take place. So that is the focus for today. Yes, without bringing debates about rights and wrongs. Thank you. I don't know whether this is old hand or this is a new hand from Dr. Sadia iPhone, or it's just a hand that has not been taken down.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to add that one of the things, the reason why they call sugars and refined carbohydrates inflammatory is because of what they call the homeostasis and the way the body tries to regulate its sugar. So if you eat these sugars and these refined carbohydrates, what happens is that the blood sugar shoots up, and then the body tries to, compared to if you eat brown bread and gouache, ndoma, all these difficult to digest carbohydrates, which are better. When you eat the refined ones and sugar, your blood sugar shoots up, and the body responds by producing a huge surge of insulin. And then insulin also is something that causes the sugar to shoot down, because in response to the way it went up very quickly compared to the other whole grains that made the blood sugar rise slowly. And insulin has something that's called it induces the growth factor even for cancers. So if you keep having these sugar crashes, sugar shooting up and then insulin response and then the sugar crashing down, then that is why there is also a lot of cancer. And so, yeah, if you're going to insist on that ugali, then probably you should be having the other type of ugali, then not the white sugar, not the white one. And obviously that's why you're having those sugar crashes. I'm addressing Odhiambo now, and that is why your blood sugar is out of control. And definitely if your ugali is 3/4 of the plate, that is not very healthy at all for your diabetes. It's actually supposed to be less than 1/4 of a plate. And also, if I gave the impression that we didn't have any nutrition treatment education at all in medical school, I'm saying compared to the importance, our training was much, much less than what it should have been. We were given, for example, the vitamins and minerals and lifestyle diseases, and where we can get the types of food that have the different types of vitamins and minerals that we can get them from. But when I compare what we were taught to the importance of nutrition in our health, prevention, and treatment of diseases, then you find that it was like taught as a by the way. Yeah, there were some outreach programs. We went and we dealt with the malnutrition and all that, and we're told, this is how you prevent kwashiorkor and all that. But the emphasis was not really so much on nutrition for the lifestyle compared to what I'm seeing the importance with the diseases of today. And we all saw it during COVID. They were very loud about masks, which, by the way, reduces your oxygen level and is very unhealthy. And also, that is another topic for another day. It doesn't help. And when your oxygen level is low, you go into anxiety and you go into oxidative stress also. So the emphasis needs to be much more on nutrition.
Thank you, Daktari. I think we've lost you, but we get the message. Yeah, so we've come to a close. Good to know that this topic could as well be one of the most important in your life. If you've not been taking your health seriously, please do. Better start today, start now. One of my tips usually is, please take water. And by the way, I don't speak about rumors. I'm a scientist by nature. I always do a lot of experiments and observation. Now, one thing I've learned is many people don't take water. Today, every time I go home in the village, I love to say that the village has come to the city and the city has gone to the village. While many people in Nairobi want to eat what is genuine food coming from home home people want to eat what is in the city. Yeah. And many people are taking too much sugar, too much sodas, and by the end of the day, literally everyone is sick. Yeah, one of the boys who was helping me, a boy in the 20s, surprised me that he, well, I saw him chewing. I have a lot of pepper around the compound. He picks them and chews them. I was asking, why do you do that? That he was told that one lowers blood pressure. I was surprised that he's been having blood pressure. I said, where do you get such funny things at this age? And when I audited his lifestyle, the guy takes this meat that is in the stick. I don't know, it's called mshiki, whatever, something. I don't remember the name very well. Every day, every single day, and they have a group that they go and do that. It's become part of their lifestyle. And then the sugars and whatever, and you can always tell. Another guy, a very young boy, I left at home. Later, I realized that we were being called to fundraise. Yes, something like that, Mshaki, whatever. We were being called to fundraise because he was going through cancer treatment. And I was wondering, this boy I left at home, they are from a poor background, he was even struggling to school. I didn't even know that he was in Nairobi. What has been the problem? So I went and sat with him and just listened to him, the way he eats, whatever. I was told the guy takes 4 spoons of sugar, the big spoon, every other time. And if when tea goes down, the cup, he adds sugar, and then uses lots of oil. Whatever. You will always have done literally this for a number of cancer patients, by the way. And you will always find a bearing with nutrition, 100%. I've done it many times, and I see it literally. So our lives are pegged on what we eat. And I was surprised. At one point, I went to see, again, somebody who was really ill, was a cancer patient. And we've gone to visit, and what do I see being given to her? A soda, she was being given soda there, some bread. I couldn't interfere. I had a friend who is also a nutritionist and working at KNH, and I told him, why can't you advise these people? Then he said, it's impolite to intrude, so let's just leave them. I really feel bad when I see such things. Yeah. So I know that this industry, very few people talk about good health. And to me, there is nothing else that is worth. I was taught by my uncle that when I was asked, what are the basic needs in school? We were taught education, food. He told me, nonsense. Health is your basic need. The rest will fall in place when you're healthy. So let's close it at that point. Health is your basic need. And nobody else outside there really, very few people, let me make it so, have your interest in their heart. So the people who may have your interest may not have the motivation. You see, so the people with the motivation may not have your interest. So be on guard and stay healthy. If you don't take me seriously, just do your own due diligence and you'll come to that conclusion, by the way. And I've always said that if the only tool you have in your toolbox is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And most medics, because they see drugs around them, they always know that there is a pill that you can use to manage. That is the way it is. So your health is your big deal. Next week, we're going to discuss about another very exciting topic. It is money. According to the book, Live Your Dream. And live your dream in 7 Ds. You will love it. You will love it. You will probably understand why sometimes things just don't work the way you intend them to work. So let's be there again at 7:15 a.m. You can always log in a little earlier and we discuss more. The following week, we will have a guest speaker, an international speaker from Canada, will be talking to us about leadership, and it will be about selection. How do we select leaders? We will be going to election after that. So we need to know how do we check leadership and how do we manage change? Because now we are going through a transition in Kenya. Well, we know we have other people from our neighboring countries, but they have the same challenges just like us. So that is what we will be discussing thereafter. And let's keep coming, let's keep inviting other people to enjoy with us. If we are healthy, if we are happy, if your neighbor is happy, then the society will be much, much better.